why did WCW never use Road Warrior Hawk and Kensuke Sasaki as the Hellraisers, even though they both were in WCW?
Yeah. It's really interesting. I think Animal was hurt at the time, and those guys were, Road Warrior was a big part of New Japan's gaijin, what means foreigners, stable, and so to keep that, gimmick working, Kensuke Sasaki kind of took Road Warrior's place, and they became the Hellraisers, and the spike shoulder pad and all that. I got to tell you a funny story that reminds me of something, but so I don't know if New Japan didn't want us to. I don't believe that, but you just never. I think they wanted to probably want to keep that Road Warrior gimmick intact, and so I really don't know why. But I will tell you a funny story about Hellraiser that I worked with. So, very famous comedy television show. I get a call through WCW office that they want to use Road Warrior Hawk and Kensuke Sasaki on this show is called Owarai, which means to laugh. A real famous TV show in Japan. And I get a call and they said, hey, we're going to fly you, me, and Hawk and meet up as Kensuke, and we're going to do a skit on the beach where we're going to have a wrestling ring and you guys going to beat up these bunch of little 90-pound Japanese comedians, famous comedians. I couldn't quite understand what was so funny about that, but, free trip and, good payday. So I called Hawk and I said, Hawk, you want to do this? I checked with the office. Office says we can do it. He said, yeah, I'll do it. His gravelly voice. He said, I'll do it if I can get my girlfriend to come along. So I called the television studio in Japan and they said, sure. So, not knowing how the show is about, we go over there and they pick us up, take us to this resort town. Next morning, we're on the beach. We meet up with Kensuke, and they got all their painted face and gimmick on. And if you can imagine, matter of fact, you might be able to find this on the YouTube somewhere. There's a wrestling ring, but it's only 3-sided rope, so the camera can, shoot better.
Yeah.
But the funniest thing is one side off the apron is, how they do the teppanyaki, where the Japanese guys do the cooking?
Yeah.
Okay, the hot plate.
Yes.
The whole side of this ring is hot plates. And it's really hot. Right? There's a guy actually cooking there.
Right.
On a camera, on a TV show. On this side, on the back end of it, it's a mat with all that sticky glue, like a fly trap glue.
Yeah.
Where you can't get it off, kind of glue.
Yeah.
And this side is all this little buttons on it, but if you touch it, it explodes. The firework goes off.
Okay.
So the whole gimmick is this comedian comes in, challenge the Hellraisers on a wrestling match, and gets tossed into one of these spots. I mean, really abusing these guys. I mean, they were.
It's on TV, so they could have worked it.
Right, but they didn't tell us anything. So I'm translating and I'm playing not the manager, but in essence the real manager on this television show, And Hawk is asking, "What do you want me to do, brother?" And I'm going, "I guess you're gonna wrestle these guys." And these are comedians, so they're trying to slap him and trying to do the chop, and obviously these, our guys aren't selling. They're not gonna sell anyway. So, they finally get pissed off and, picks him up over their head and walks around and throw him right off the ring apron. And I'm gonna tell you, I watched him afterward. because they threw one guy into the hot plate. Guy literally got burnt all over his body. I mean, they were cooking stuff on there and serving people. I mean, it was ridiculous. One guy got thrown. He got all blistered from all the fire explosion going off on him. The worst guy was the guy who got thrown on and those sticky fly trap thing. They couldn't get that thing off. I remember the guy was working on it hours, like 4 hours afterward, trying to take a credit card and trying to scrape those, you know, and all their hairs are coming off their body and stuff. It was horrible. But I'm sure that episode's on television somewhere. And you know, we had a great time, but yeah, that was one time I got to kind of become a real manager for Hellraisers.
Wow, those comedians.
Oh, I feel really bad for him because I remember one guy was going bald and he had like serious comb over stuff going on, you know, and he's one of the guys who got thrown into that glue stuff and they couldn't get that stuff off his 8 string of hair that going over, and I think they ended up shaving his head.
Wow.